just for permission ng hindi kasi akala niya si Atty. Gata.
Bakit niya yun ang pabalik ng ano ba yan?
Ang tanong na niya ako na, sir, si Atty. Gata daw ba? Eh, lalaki ko ba?
Yun nga, kasi puro na siya sa amin. I-insist namin sa bahay ko ba? Sabi, hindi rin namin. Pero, baka yun, parang parang siya. So, mali siya? Opo. Hindi naman niya sinabi namin na mali. Tinanggap niya na siya. Hindi naman. Kapag nakita ko niya, pinatanggal na namin. Sabi mo.
Supply chain. Supply chain. Meron bang supply chain?
Okay, good morning. Hello, Secretary. We have a quorum.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a quorum with the attendance of the following BAC members. Attorney Martin Espadamar, chairperson. Engineer Raylan Tarafina, regular member. Laila L. Martinez, vice chairperson, attending via Zoom. Casa Babadilla, representing Attorney Primo L. Michotana, regular member. Attorney Rigel L. Tabay, regular member. Acting Court Manager Elizalde Olson, provisional member for BMO Palawan, attending via Zoom. And Acting Court Manager Maria Magnolia Requero, provisional member, attending via Zoom for BMO Bicol. We have in attendance as well the head and members of the Secretariat, head and members of the Technical Working Group. On the part of the prospective bidders, we have representatives from Prudential Customs Brokerage Services Incorporated, Mr. Bianchi Vasco, Mr. Marcus Lauron, Ms. Wendy Sonza, Ms. Mary Ann Pinella. From Asian Terminals Incorporated, Mr. Edward A. Baking, Mr. Wilson Keith Marcelino, Ms. Cecil Agatep, all attending via Zoom. On the part of, we have another representative attending via Zoom from Prudential Customs Brokerage Services Incorporated, Ms. Elvira R. Evora. On the part of onshore for terminal stevedoring services, we have representatives Mr. Erwin Doctor and Mr. Albert Maligaya attending via Zoom. On the part of our observers, we have representative from Philippine Chamber of Pedestrian Stevedoring Operators Incorporated, Mr. Richard Imperial.
Thank you. Considering the foregoing, the chair declares that there's a quorum. Please, BAC PTMC number 005-2020 come to order. Okay, I'm going to schedule today.
We have 3 items in our agenda for today, Mr. Chair. First is the approval of minutes of the previous BAC meeting, HO-BAC-PTMC number 004-2020, dated November 11, 2020. Second is the credit conference of the Port Terminal Management Contract for Port of Puerto Princesa. And number 3 is the presentation and approval of the terms of reference of the Port Management Contract for Port of Tobacco and Legazpi.
Thank you. If there are objections, let's proceed to the first item on our agenda, the approval of the minutes of the previous BAC. Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of meetings with the city. It has been moved that the guide approved the recognition of those. Hearing that, the information about PTMC number 004/2020, held on November 11, 2020, is hereby approved as presented. The next item is the deputy contract. Okay, right.
For the previous conference with terminal management contract for Port Princesa, the project was advertised last November 3, 2020 in Manila Times and posted on the PPA website and at conspicuous places in the PPA premises. Supplemental bid bulletin number 1 was posted in the PPA website on November 12, 2020 regarding the amendment of schedules for the Port Terminal Management contract for Port of Puerto Princesa. We have prospective bidders represented by, we have prospective bidders from PCBSI. May we ask if you have queries, questions, or clarifications?
Before anything else, during the last pre-bid conference or pre-selection conference, we asked PCBSI for data regarding the volume of cargo which, as current operator, they are fully aware, in order to compare with the data submitted to us by the PMO. Was this given to the technical working group?
Yes,
Technical working group, were you able to go over the data submitted and verify the accuracy?
Maybe request Ms. Cathy Esco to report on the.
Okay, Kathy, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Okay, were you able to review the data submitted?
Okay. Yes, sir. PMO Palawan, sir, already submitted the revised computation of minimum concession fee based on the corrected cargo throughput.
Wait one moment. So initially, what was submitted was not the correct cargo throughput.
Yes, sir. Per the validation made by PMO Palawan, they corrected the cargo throughput indicated in the computation of incremental revenue as well as the projected volume threshold.
And this will necessitate a change in the minimum concession fee considering.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you report the change?
Yes, sir. On behalf of PMO Palawan, sir, I would like to report that the minimum concession fee is now set at 1,626,457,452.74.
A quick bulletin will be issued regarding this change. So for the information of the respective leaders. As a result of validation of data, the minimum concession fee has been decreased. Considering that the initial documents were already, the initial documents were already submitted to the general manager, I request the technical working group to prepare a report regarding the change to be submitted to the general manager from the BAC. Okay. Okay, can you proceed with the question?
Mr. Chairman, ECS, I would like to manifest that we're adopting the questions that we proposed during the.
I have the same question. We don't have to go over.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir. So, we just manifest that we may have additional questions depending on the discussion from everyone.
okay, so as of now, you have no additional questions.
Yes.
Okay, this is ask the other responsibility.
May we ask the representatives of Asian Terminals Incorporated if we will have questions, clarifications regarding the details?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Are we coming in clear?
Nothing here, sir.
Yes, hi, I'm Ian backing from Asian Terminals, and I'm joined also with my colleagues from ATI, Attorney Cecil Agatep, Attorney Shermaine Datok, and Wilson Marcelino. And yes, Mr. Chair, we have a series of questions we would like to ask the committee in order to clarify the terms of reference and the draft contract of the project. Shall we proceed?
Before anything else, are the questions which you are going to ask now the same questions which you sent to the BAC via the secretariat in your letter dated February 2020?
Yes, Mr. Chair, those are the same questions, yes.
Okay. Technical working group, rather than having them ask, can you just read the question and propound the answer? Okay, let me proceed your API.
How's that again, Mr. Chair?
I will just instruct the technical working group to read your questions and to give the answer.
All right, sure, yeah, okay, yes.
Okay, technical working group, they will have the question. Okay, so on the direction, can you first read the question and the answer?
For the first question of EPI, for section 3.1 of the terms of reference, we request for the following information about the concession area. A, further legal sectors within the 57,983.1 feet square meters concession area. And B, are there adjacent or additional lands that the operator can acquire in the future? If so, are these adjacent or additional land owners by the PPA or third parties? Are they currently occupied? Mr. Chair, for the first question, letter A, maybe need to request the end user to respond. Yes.
Are there legal sectors? Yan ba yung taga-BMO Palawan? Tawag ko si BM kanina.
While waiting for PM, we would like to respond to question.
Okay, that's the question.
To 3.1B. Please be informed that the scope of the PTMC meeting for the Port of Palawan is defined and delineated in the Port Land Use Scheme. Please refer to Annex A of the terms of reference. So, wala pa yan sa PN. So, let's move on to item 3.2A. 3.2A. Please confirm that the ancillary services stated are non-inclusive. Except for the core functions of the contractor, such as the container terminal management, passenger terminal management, and cargo handling services, the contractor may, subject to the approval of the BPA, subcontract or designate a qualified third party to provide any of the services specified and enumerated in the terms of reference. Okay, so
ADI. ADI. Any follow-up question, you can ask them after the answer of the initially read out question.
Mr. Chairman, good morning. I'm Attorney Cecil Agatep from ATI. I'm the AVP for Legal of ATI. And regarding this question on Section 3.2A, our question, sorry, we actually misstated our question. It's supposed to be we would whether the ancillary services stated are not exclusive. So we would like to ask if the ancillary services that are enumerated therein are exhaustive of all the ancillary services, or can other services that are considered as ancillary services under pertinent rules and regulations be considered as ancillary services under these terms of reference?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We'll follow the existing BPA rules and regulations on the ancillary services.
No, it's not exclusive.
Yes, sir. And again, I would like to reiterate that except for the core functions of the PTMO, the contractor may subject to approval of the BPA subcontract or designate a qualified third party to provide any of the services specified and enumerated in the POR, which includes, among others, the ancillary services.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yes, in our first query on Section 3.1, letter B, on the question of the additional lands, I understand the answer to the question is that the concession agreement in this case is limited only to the 57,950 square meter concession area. Is that correct?
Excellent.
Yes, Mr. Chair. The scope of the PTMC bidding for the Port of Palawan is defined and delineated in the port land use.
So,
As annexed to the POR.
so we have no knowledge regarding the additional land which the operator can acquire later on.
Yes, sir. We will just focus on the,
So if we want to determine the credit that we acquire, that means they don't owner.
yes, sir.
A follow-up question, if it is limited in that area, what is the context of the provisions in the concession about the port development plan, which may have or indicate areas that can be expanded, or the expansion of the port, if it's just limited to that 57,933?
Well, from the leader, they are referring to the concession agreement template. So, Ian.
Yes. Yeah, there's a reference to a port development plan. And our understanding is that the concessionaire is allowed to expand the area. And that's why there's an indication of adjacent lands. However, there's also indication of informal settlers in the area. The cost of addressing the informal settlers is on the concessionaire. And that's why our question is, if that is the case, So does it mean that there are adjacent lands, in fact, and these are still open for development? And that's why we have questions of who owns the land. Are they currently occupied? If the PPA owns them, meaning are they subject of a long-term lease to another third party? And therefore, we can then assess the commercial or project risks involved when we come up with our port master plan.
Okay, with regards to this question and the questions to be propounded with the end user, we just received word that DMO allowance lost internet connection. So they're trying to connect. So we will just address it to the DMO once we get in touch with them. And if you are not able to answer this now, we will communicate with ATI or questions.
Okay.
However, with regards to the question, there are legal centers in the possession area. The DMO has already responded there are no legal centers. Okay, then we proceed to the other question, ATI.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So let's move to question number.
Section
Okay.
8.3.
So ATI, with procedure, you ask a question and respond there. We will refer to the written questions you sent. Baka may mga corrections there kasi sa question. Mr. Baking?
Yes.
Just read the question and answer it.
Yeah. I think we're in section 3.B. Question number 3. The question we have is if we're requesting confirmation that Arrastra stevedoring will include anchorage operations and the berth management operations as indicated in the pro forma contract sections 2.1A, 3B, and C.
The Arrastra Distillery includes services rendered by the BPMO or the Port Terminal Management Operator at the anchorage and berth. And as clarified during our last week conference, the management study again kindly refer to the terms of reference to the scope of services subject of bidding.
Okay. Okay. So the berth management is included. I hope I got that right.
No restriction.
Oh, it's not. Okay. So the berth management will remain with the PPA, if I understand it.
Yes,
sir. And what about operations in the anchorage? So we're in Stevedoring. Is that open to the concessionaire?
Yes, sir. The Arrastra and Stevedoring services include services rendered by the operator at the anchorage and.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we can move, Mr. Chair, to the next question. We request confirmation if only VAT will be excluded from the concession fee computation and not withholding tax.
Pursuant to section 8.2 of the terms of reference, the concession fee is exclusive of any and all applicable Philippine national and local taxes, but not limited to value-added tax, percentage taxes where applicable, the taxes due on the concession fee, including any subsequent increase thereof, shall be for the account of the four-terminal management operator. If the holding tax is not an added tax, but a part of either VAT or percentage tax or other income tax that are withheld by the PTMO and paid directly to PIR in behalf of the PTA. The corresponding withholding tax certificate shall be presented by the PTMO to PTA upon payment of the concession fee.
Okay, all right, thank you. Um, on our next question, Mr. Chair, on section 8.7, requesting confirmation if there are facilities that are co-utilized by the operator and the PPA, and if so, how will their share in the utilities be computed? This would refer to charges relating to electric, water, communications, and other utilities within the concession area, within the area of responsibility. So we want to know if there are areas that are co-utilized, or if there's a shared meter between the PPA and the port operator.
With the questions we are able to answer directly, and that is the answer to ATI, right? So this is one of the questions which we are able to answer directly. Okay, I can move to the next question.
Okay, yes, requesting on section 8.8B, requesting confirmation if the cash deposit will be returned to the unsuccessful bidder, and when is the period when it will be returned? This is the
cash deposit provided in section 8.8B. The unsuccessful bidder in accordance with the accounting and auditing rules and regulations.
yes, the amount is equal to the minimum concession fee, subject to bidding for the first year of the contract. So I presume all bidders will make a cash deposit. Question we have is if we're going to get the cash back once the bid is over, and meaning cash back for the unsuccessful bidders.
I'm not sure.
One moment. Yeah, with regards to the question regarding the cash deposit, we consulted with management regarding this, and
the regulations provides that the prospective bidder shall deposit in cash in favor of PPA. So instead, in addition to cash, we will also consider the manager's check, which should be, the original of which should be attached to the technical documents submitted during opening of bids.
So rather than making a cash deposit, we will consider a submission of the manager's check to the amount of the first year computed minimum concession fee as a cash deposit, and it will only be deposited once the contract is finalized and NTP is issued. Para hindi mahirap yung sabihan. Okay?
Yes, so it only be deposited when there's already a winning bidder, or meaning this pertains to the win.
Yeah, so
Okay.
bidders na is highest, so that's already until post qualification and the finalization of the contract between bidder, kasi there's still a chance hindi ko qualify yung highest ulit. So, at least hawak pa rin natin for money. So, once once there's a winning bidder na with a contract, then ang isa sa uli yung manager's check.
Okay. So the timing of this deposit is consistent with Section 8.6 of the Terms of Reference, meaning it shall be within 30 days from the signing of the PTMC. The performance security shall be posted within 30 days from the signing of the PTMC.
30 days here, you are refers to the performance security and accountability securities. That is exactly financial capacity. The performance security is after the contract, during the contract implementation already. Before the signing of the contract, you should have a performance security. While the financial capacity, which includes the manager's check, it should be made before the bidding and should be included in your technical proposal.
Okay, yeah. So the question we have there is, once the bid is over and for the unsuccessful bidders, when will they get the cash back? Because
For the unsuccessful bidder, your manager's check should be returned to you once the award is given to the bidder.
okay, okay, all right. Thank you. Yes. Mhm.
Excuse me. So the manager's check will be returned to the unsuccessful bidders once the notice of award was already issued by the PPA, and not when a contract has been entered into between the PPA and the successful bidder. Did we get that correctly?
Princess here. The manager's
Yes,
check.
ma'am. Mhm. Mhm.
Manager's check should be returned to you upon issuance of the notice to proceed, and the bank will make the necessary notices for you to inform that an NPP has been issued.
Okay, ma'am. So it is upon the issuance of the notice to proceed to the new concessionaire. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Chair, do we continue?
It's also very brief information please. It will be responsive to your letter. And if you will also be responsive to your letter, right? So if you feel you don't want to ask more questions, you can take questions which you wish to get addressed now. Whatever happens, you will still respond to your query. So you can proceed.
Uh, Sorry, I wasn't able to get that, Mr. Chair.
Regardless of you asking your question, you will be responding to your letter in writing.
Okay, all right, okay, all right.
And you don't want to ask all the questions verbally. You will be responding to your
Okay.
so it's probably you want to ask them all, and you will respond to you respond to what you have now, and or you can take it.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair. So do we proceed with going through the queries?
Yes.
Okay. Our next question is on section 8, which talks about the minimum concession fee and yeah. Hello, I'm sorry. I think
Mr. Chair, sorry if I may speak instead of Mr. Backing. Um, for our question regarding section 8.10.3, the first question pertains to whether only cargo handling operations, PTB operations, and RORO operations, and additional services not included in the minimum concession fee are subject to variable fee. Therefore, all other services that are not enumerated in those services that have a defined threshold volume are not subject to variable fee.
are subject to variable fee. The ancillary services as defined in section 3.28 of the terms of reference is not subject to variable fee. And further, the parking fees are not included in the calculation of income concession fees. If the PTMO offers parking services, the 60% variable fee shall be paid to PTA.
Yeah. Practical. So, your answer, yung may computed lang tayo sa actually kung concession fee are subject to variable fee. So, ano yung additional services na i-approve nila, anong rate ang mag-apply doon? Yung hindi part ng computation ng minimum concession fee. Hindi may purpose ng variable fee. What we did not take into account yung the variable fee.
Sir, can be requested.
That is,
Yes, Mr. Chair. Sir, can you repeat the question? Medyo magulo lang po yung dating sa akin.
okay. May tanong sila regarding the variable fee.
Yes, sir.
So the question is, please confirm that only cargo handling operation, ECC operation, and roller operation, and additional services not included in the concession fee are subject to variable fees. So the question is, clarification and meaning ko is, okay, yung may mga minimum tayo, pag lumampas sa threshold, may variable fee.
Yes, sir.
Services na hindi natin na-account for, yun yung may variable fee.
Yung alin, sir? Yung?
Yung informative service na hindi natin kasama, yung hindi natin nakasama sa computation of variable ng concession fee. If it's not taken into account, that is subject to variable fee.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yun yung variable fee.
For clarification lang, sir, kasi may isa pa rin sa silang question. Likewise, please confirm that all others such as ancillary services that do not fall within the said operation services and which do not have defined threshold volume as per annex are not subject to variable fee. Yes, sir, ancillary services that will be offered by the PTMO will not be subject to variable fee. However, it is informed and clarified that these ancillary services are not to be exclusive to the PTMO. Third-party service providers, pursuant to Section 12 of AO03-2016, for auxiliary services such as channeling, tugboat, pilotage, and bunkering, and all other ancillary services, the contractor must not prohibit access to other qualified providers, and there shall be no special privileges given to a particular provider of auxiliary services. For ancillary services, sir, PPA only collects permit fee and annual regulatory fee. No government share are being collected for ancillary services or neither variable fee.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Yeah, okay, okay. You can proceed.
Okay, meron po ba tayong list ng ancillary services na hindi exclusive kay ATI? Okay,
Ma'am,
I mean to the terminal operator who will be to the future concessionaire.
yes, ma'am. The list of ancillary services is provided in PPA AO number 08-1996.
So all of those ancillary services will not be exclusive to the future concessionaire. I mean, other parties can come in.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, that provision is also provided in section, I think, wait lang, ma'am. Sa pro forma contract.
Yes, we saw it actually in the pro forma contract. But medyo ano lang po kasi medyo conflicting siya dun sa terms of reference kasi nakalagay sa terms of reference minimum requirement siya to be provided by the concessionaire. So we were under the impression na if that's the minimum service, then the concessionaire will be kumbaga parang can exclusively provide for those service. And we were also under the impression that they are included in the computation of the minimum concession fee.
I know, ma'am. We do not compute for the ancillary services government share kasi right now PPA are only collecting permit fee and annual regulatory fee. And if the PTMO will contract the services of third party for the provision of ancillary services, those contracted by the PTMO shall secure the appropriate permit fee and accreditation from PPA.
Okay. So can we have a list of those services that were included in the minimum concession fee?
Yes, ma'am. The following services are included in the computation of minimum concession fee. Restaurant stevedoring, PTB operation, RoRo services, lease of commercial spaces outside PTB, storage, porterage, waste management and shore reception facility, cargo checking service, equipment, rental and shore power.
Sorry, shore reception facility and then?
Cargo checking service.
Cargo checking service. Okay.
Equipment rental and shore power.
Okay. And shore power. But anyway, we understand that this will also be documented in the reply of the PPA. So
yes, po. Yes, po.
Okay. So we assume that all of these are included in the minimum concession fee, and only those with defined threshold volume will be subject to variable fee, right? Correct.
Yung una kasing
provision and those additional services, and those additional services not included in the minimum concession fee.
Yes.
So if those additional services that are not included in the minimum concession fee, if those services is not something that is exclusive to the concessionaire, is it still subject to variable fee?
No, ma'am. If it's not exclusive to concessionaires such as those ancillary services, no variable fee will be collected from the PTM.
Okay. I get it. Okay.
Catherine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, those services like waste collection, shore power, is there a tariff that you've established for these services?
For shore reception, sir, we have provided na po yung tariff doon sa ating uniform port tariff for Tier 3 ports. For shore power, sir, these are services listed by the PMO, sir, as one of the services to be provided by the PTMO. So maybe we can request PMO to clarify po yung kanilang inclusion ng shore power.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so nawala yata ako. So, okay. So all of these have are in the because I'm checking the Unified Tariff Annex A. And okay, equipment rental. Okay.
Same with equipment rental, sir. PMO is the one who included the equipment rental as additional services to be provided by PMO, by the PTMO. We may request PMO to provide for the tariff, for the proposed tariff for these services.
Okay, sige. So they will establish a tariff. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So clarification on those minimum services. Does it mean that the the concessionaire must provide these services, or if it's open for others to operate or to provide, can the concessionaire just elect not to provide it?
Sir, for the minimum services, sir, the PTMO is required to provide those services, sir.
Okay, all right.
However, there are services that you may contract out as provided in the pro forma templates, which are considered not core function.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Follow on now on the variable fees in excess of the threshold volumes. Our question is there a room to discuss their rates? Because it says here that if volumes exceed the threshold levels, the share of the PPA is 60%, and another 80% if it's the RORO, I think it's RRTS.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. Yung 80-20 is the current sharing for the RRTF, while the 60% variable fee is pursuant to Section 3 of PPA-AO number 09/2019, or entitled Guidelines on the Adoption of Uniform Procedure in the Determination of Minimum Concession Fee and Variable Fee, and contract under the Port Terminal Management Regulatory Framework. This one is approved by the board, sir. So we cannot speak if the 60% variable fee can be discounted.
Yeah, because the concern we have is to provide the service, it's like saying the cost to provide is only a smaller portion of the tariff. But in fact, for domestic tariffs, the cost to provide the service is about 55-60% of the tariff. So in large part, the operator is parang abunado pa kasi for every peso you spend 60 centavos, then you have to give 60 centavos to the PPA. So parang it doesn't make sense. I mean, in that sense, I mean, 60%, you're assuming all the other costs to provide it is 40% break even lang yun. And that's not even the case when you talk about very manual handling of general cargo goods. But anyway, okay. Okay. Anyway, sige. So, do we continue on, Mr. Chair? Yeah. Just a clarification on the computation of fees remitted every year. What if the contract year doesn't start Jan 1? So are we saying contract meaning anniversary year or literally calendar year? Because if the contract starts middle of the year, then technically the following January is not a full year. So the fees, so paano siya? Do we do calendar year or contract year, meaning anniversary year?
Sir,
in computing
the schedule of variable fee payment is pursuant to PPAO number 09/2019. I think, however, for contract that will start at any point of the year, the schedule and computation of variable fee shall be specified in the contract, sir.
Okay, all right. Okay, noted. Okay. If you move on to the next, Mr. Chair, this pertains to sections 9.2, 12.1, 12.2, and 12.3, and this pertains to the port workers. The first is the current labor force unionized in Puerto Princesa?
like to get
Okay, just one of the questions if we will start with.
Okay. And if you could also have, I mean, what would be included in the port workers? The question we have is, the concession requires the port operator to absorb the existing port workers, and therefore we would appreciate getting a definition of who and what functions or jobs are included as quote unquote port workers, subject of what's this absorption by the port operator. And then of course the other question we have is on the port retirement fund, if we would count the tenure starting on contract year. I mean, how do we account for the tenure of the port workers prior to this contract or concession? And if the operator can use a bank managed retirement fund instead of the prescribed PRSF.
we will be responding in writing.
Okay.
Getting a problem.
All right. Okay. And our next question is in section 9.3 of the terms of reference. It says here that the concessionaire is committed in its port development plan, and it has and such other necessary equipment and gears as may be required by the PPA. So we would just like to clarify what would qualify the as may be required by the PPA. And is there a limit or parameter on what the PPA may require in the future? Because this may affect significantly the capital expenditure commitment of the port operator. Kasi medyo loose po yung or general yung as may be required by the PPA.
Yes, sir. Sir, in the representative of public service and to ensure that the prescribed performance indicators are being met by the PPO, it may require the operator to deploy additional gears. However, it is worthy to note that the said APIs are subject to joint review by the PPA and terminal operator every 3 years or as necessary.
Okay, so subject of a joint review and agreement. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. In section 9.6, Mr. Chair, and this is regarding ownership of assets during the course of the concession. And the question we have is, can the operator dispose of equipment? Because it's a 15-year concession, so some of the cargo handling equipment may reach their useful life or economic life within the period of the concession. So can the operator dispose of the equipment it deployed or introduced to the facility once fully depreciated or they have become non-operational? I mean, it can just unilaterally dispose, like sell and all that.
Corporate operator and I think the PMO should be informed of the disclosure.
Okay, so the PTMO will only be informed, but the operator can dispose of equipment it replaced.
Yes, sir. As the replacement of the said equipment.
Okay. Okay. Um, in sections 9.8, Mr. Chair, can we confirm that normal wear and tear be excluded from good working condition?
Sure. Sure. In the pro forma contracts approved by the board, section 27.1.c excluded, it stated there, where, and where are excluded.
Okay. Okay. Um, okay. In the next query we have is on the port security plan under section 14.1. It says here that the PPA should implement a port security plan in accordance with pertinent rules. So if that is so is this port security under the PPA's accountability, or is it under the concessionaire? Because we may have different port security plans. So that would mean, what if there's a breach in security, such as unauthorized access and or losses or damages to cargo?
Yes, I'd like to
People that work with our quarterly department, they started to evaluate the responsibility for security unit and the security units that are the terminal. So with regards to the responsibility for losses, I'm not sure if the port operators authorized to have their own security plan, but the parameters of already so regards to the indicated responsibility, you will have to differ answering to the responsibility. Okay. Either answer.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I didn't quite. Um, well, the thing in practice, the port operator implements a port security plan that it coordinates with the PPA. So is that more um, accurate way of describing the port security plan? And
In practice, the port security services or responsibilities of operation. So
Mhm.
we start by that time.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Um, in section 14.4, is there an existing cargo claims adjudication committee functioning in the Port of Puerto Princesa? Mhm. Our query would be, if there is one, would appreciate what is the scope, authority, and mandate of the Cargo Claims Adjudication Committee in Puerto Princesa.
verify with the PO
Okay. 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 Regarding the pro forma contract, Mr. Chair, we just like to get confirmation that the schedules will be consistent with the terms of reference, and there will be none included in the schedules that will affect the bid.
Yes, all the schedules as indicated in the proposal contract will be listed from the group reference. As of now, what was attached to the bid document is the proposal template, and it may be adjusted depending on the approved the reference.
Okay. Noted. Now, on the antecedents in paragraph 2, there's mention of an expansion and modernization and development of the existing port, further stating that it will include expansion of quay wall, rehabilitation of existing berths available for operation, and construction of storage space. Our question is that this is actually not applicable in this concession, and the port development plan to be submitted is the one that will set the parameters for any capital investment in port infrastructure.
Not applicable for
That's the pro forma contract was based on the approved pro forma contract for all the inclusive contracts, includes tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So there are provisions for tier 2. There are provisions here which are applicable for ports under tier 1 and tier 2. So those provisions which are not applicable for tier 3 do not apply for this contract. Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay. Okay. In paragraph number 5 of the antecedents, well, the pro forma contract assumes that due diligence have been conducted, including necessary surveys. Our petition release, given the pandemic situation and limited time as well. Is there a way that we can request from the PPA PMO to host a virtual tour of the facility so that we can have a better appreciation of the port of Puerto Princesa outside of just Google Maps?
Ian, it would be referring your request to the PMO.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. And okay. Okay. In section 2.1 of the pro forma, we just request confirmation that all parameters, including investment in port infrastructure and maintenance of port equipment, will be in accordance with the terms of reference and port development plan to be submitted by the prospective bidder. Hello? Yeah.
Our city guidelines and the port terminal management report expected for infrastructure included in tier 1 and 2. So hindi ko siya applicable to tier.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to get that.
There is investment in port infrastructure po.
Uh-huh.
So this one is financial.
Okay. Okay, so it's not it's not
Yes, sir. Applicable lang sa tier 3 is yung maintenance ng quality equipment.
okay, all right, okay. Okay, and okay, on the same section, there are now the discussion on the core functions and non-core functions. And there are some items such as chandling, bunkering, and water supply that are included in the minimum deliverables of the operator. And that's okay. The question is, can we remove them from the list of third-party services that are not exclusive right of the operator?
Sir, aside from the core functions associated in the terms of reference guidelines, such as the container terminal management, the passenger terminal management, and the cargo handling services, the terminal management operator may subcontract yung po mga other services like ito.
Yeah.
Consider yung subcontraction.
Okay. Okay. In section 2.3, there's a reference to a turnover of the administration building to the authority by the operator, requesting confirmation if this is applicable in this PTMC.
Those are
Okay. Also, in section 2.5, it mentions a 25-year period. I presume this will be changed to 15 years? Or is this a 25-year concession?
yes, sir. For tier 3 ports, the concession period is only.
Okay. In section 3.2, we just want to request confirmation. When is the existing contract with the current operator? Up until when?
Sir, I think the permanent contract of the existing operator, the Port of Palawan, is already expired, and they are only operating under a mobile authority.
Okay, all right. Is there an existing ECC covering the concession area and the current port operation?
Sir, for the
For the,
environment,
Mhm.
it will be setting it out with the PMO.
Uh, so that's referred to the PMO for clarification.
Yes, sir. Great.
Okay. Um, so the ECC is actually with the PPA and not with the incumbent port operator. The name party in the ECC.
There will be a token of the PMO, and you will be responding in writing.
All right. Okay. Again, confirmation that phase one works as mentioned in the draft do not apply in this contract. Is that confirmed? There's no phase one works?
Yes, sir. Again,
Okay.
yung port infrastructure here will be maintenance for ng existing port equipment.
Okay. And then on the dredging, is there a current, because the handover shall be on an as-is, where-is basis. However, we understand that capital dredging will be care of the PPA. So is there a current draft survey, and is this within the specified draft of the port?
Our engineering as the current draft and the task. So Ian, we will also be providing you the
Okay. Okay. All right. In section 10, with regards any required construction, will the PPA be the one issuing a building permit for construction works? This is in lieu of permit from the local government pursuant to the power of the PPA under PD 857.
Construction permits pursuant to Charter 257, which empowers it to regulate construction within the designated port zones for this state.
So our query would be, should there be any construction works to be introduced or improvements to be introduced by the concessionaire? Will the PPA be the one issuing the building permit instead of the local government? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then, of course, we have query in section 15.1. I believe this was also raised by the other bidders previously. Section 15.1 discusses the operator's obligations with regards the KPI. So we would like further clarification, like, because there are penalties involved if there's a sustained failure to meet the KPIs. But we understand that aside from other government agencies that can affect productivity or dwell time, it can also be care of the shipping line, the carrier, and or the cargo owner. Like they decide to keep things in the port, or they do not pick up containers soonest, or there are also external factors outside of the port operator. Our question really is, can these be introduced as exclusions or exemptions in the computation of the productivity to make it more solely on the fault of the port operator should productivity fall below the prescribed KPI. Apart from the KPI itself being within reasonable levels.
We would like to request information from the back regarding the KPI or whether the same is will be discussed. And we will be
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The next one we have is on capital dredging, because that's under the PPA. The question, we have, I guess it's related to the previous one, is if there will be such capital dredging required before the turnover of the concession area, confirmation that the PPA will undertake such capital dredging.
Yes, sir. Dredging is being performed by Sir Raymond.
Okay. 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 In section 16, it discusses now that other rates, that other services that are not, where there is no defined tariff, there will be a reasonable tariff that will be computed and to be approved by the PPA. So the question we have is, will the 60% share of the PPA be in addition to the reasonable tariffs?
We request that to again.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. For the question number 11, the reasonable fees shall be computed pursuant to the existing rules and regulations of PPA, taking into considerations the cost and the allowable profit margin to the PTMO.
Okay. So the 60% share will be then on top of that, on those costs.
Yes, sir. It's either PPA will include the 60% additional, or we may provide for a lower variable fee for those new tariffs that will be provided.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. In section 17.1 and 17.2, this is the transfer of intellectual property to the authority. This is upon handover of the facility upon expiration or cancellation of the contract. We have a concern about the transfer of intellectual property to the authority, as this is subject of, like, particularly technology or IT systems, which are subject of licensing agreements between the user and, of course, the provider. It may limit the actual transfer or the legality of transferring that intellectual property to the authority or to the next operator of the port.
Yes, sir, we will take note of your comment and we will include it in our report.
Okay, thank you. Okay. In section 21.2, we request a list of all permits, certifications, licenses, corresponding periods of validity, and can all of these be endorsed to the new operator? Section 21.2.
Can you further clarify your question first?
Yeah. Yeah, because operators undertakings 21.2 specifies that the operator shall obtain, maintain, and renew all relevant consents. So with regards to the project, so our question would be, are there existing permits, consents, licenses that are still valid? Are there any existing violations? And if they are existing and still valid, will they be endorsed to the new operator pursuant to this project? For instance, like the ECCs, EIAs, if they're already existing and they're applicable, can they be endorsed instead of securing a whole new ECC or any other related agency regulation?
Yes, sir. And we will forward the request to the PMO for them to make the release. And if there are permits or certificates that may be endorsed to the new operator, then we will do so if there are no restrictions.
Okay. In section 22.1C, it states here that the operator shall secure a third-party liability insurance with a limit. It doesn't specify the amount. So we ask, what is the amount required of third-party liability?
We will just include our answer in our letter.
Okay, thank you. And in relation also in 23.5C, because what is the threshold in determining whether or not the costs are economic in case the insurance proceeds are not sufficient and would warrant termination of contract? Because is there an amount, is there a threshold value? Because the party shall be, by mutual agreement, decide whether the port is so badly damaged that it is not economic to restore the port, in which case the contract will be declared terminated. So we just want to know if there's a threshold amount beyond which it determines the port's level of damage to be no longer economic to restore.
We will be including this in our renewal plan.
Okay, thank you. And in section 24.1, which is the subject on material adverse government action, can we also include actions by local government agencies, judicial and quasi-judicial courts under those MAGA, material adverse government action? Because this one is just national government authority, change in law, lapse of relevant consent. So can we include local government agencies or local government units, judicial and quasi-judicial courts?
This issue was settled in one of our unsolved meetings, sir, and the decision is will apply for executive grants. We will make an extensive description of this in our reply. Sure.
Okay. In section 25.1b, can we define instances when public interest requires the authority to terminate the concession for any reason. I mean, to qualify what public interest would be.
Well, again, sir, there is no pardon as you on this. So this is subjective and depending on the actual situation. Again, sir, we will just clarify this in our answer to your question.
Okay. Okay. Will the termination under this section require approval of the PPA Board of Directors?
Considering that the concession agreement is approved by the board and then starting.
All right. All right. Okay. And should the concession be terminated when public interest so requires per this provision, will the operator's return on investments be guaranteed by the authority? Or is there a like a recovery mechanism in place that we can introduce on the basis of a public interest cancellation of concession?
Well, again, sir, it will depend on the ground for which we take over was undertaken.
Mhm.
We will think one case what I said in our answer.
Mhm. Um, in section 25.3E, and this is on consequences of termination. 25.3E provides for cooperation on termination. And prior to the authority making offer directly to the employees, can we request the authority to manifest its intention to the operator to allow the latter ample time to consider hiring options? I mean, it's just trying to introduce flexibility in the provision or some degree of time frame prior to the authority making offers directly to the employees. Is that possible?
Sir, we will take note of your question, sir, and
Okay. 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 In 25.3F, termination payment obligation, it says that on any termination of this contract by the authority shall be obliged to make payments to the operator pursuant to a cost recovery mechanism. So is there already a, or in case of conflict in the determination of cost recovery mechanism, what will prevail? That's our question. And will this be subject to ADR? And
So we will include this
okay.
our format contract that may be revised later on to conform to this particular contract. We'll include that in the discussion with the council.
Okay. Okay. With regards to section 26.3B, 26.3B is the clause on force majeure. That if the takeover is due to force majeure. Question we have is, can we have the same provisions for takeover under MAGA?
Yes, actually, the question is whether, because, well, 26.3B states that the concession period can be extended for a period equivalent to the time when the operator is unable to operate the port by virtue of force majeure. So in case when the operator is unable to operate the port because of a material adverse government action, can the operator be also entitled to an extension of the concession period? So in short, we would like to ask if this provision can be revised to include not just force majeure but also MAGA, or material adverse government action.
Okay. Honestly, I think we will include this in our report. As mentioned before, this program contract was to take over and we can on this, we will include in our report and submit it to management for their consideration. And maybe if favorably considered, we will place it to the board. Right now, we cannot.
Okay, we understand. So, yeah, yes, okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, so for our question for section 27, should there be issues which remain unresolved during the transfer date, who bears risk of loss? So, like what's happening now, the agreement has already expired, And supposedly there's already a new operator supposed to be operating the Puerto Princesa port, but the assets remain to be I don't know if they are still subject to a new contract, and if that is the case, who assumes the responsibility or the loss pending the issuance of a new contract?
There is one rule, guys. The risk attaches to the new operator uh, upon the execution fund or upon the start of its concession. For those risks attaching to the actions of the former operator,
Yeah, can you run that by us again?
the rule on this is all risks associated with the new contract shall attach to the new operator and the execution and start of each contract. Now, for those risks attaching to the former contract and consequent action of former operators, for the notice more. So, we will further elaborate, sir, with answer namin, sir, your question.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can we continue to our questions regarding instruction to bidders? Mhm. Okay, for our first question, we understand that there will be two envelopes. We want to clarify and confirm that the first envelope will include, which is supposed to be the technical bid. It will include all documents under Section 10.1, which includes the letter of intent and so on, the technical eligibility like the bid forms, the financial capability, and the technical documents, bid form 6. Is that correct?
Yes, for emphasis, your first envelope, which is the technical component, should include the following eligibility documents, which comprises the legal documents, technical documents, and the financial capability. And the technical submission form is security proposed organizational chart, names of key personnel for development plan, and the bidder's intended working capital. So para magkaroon ka ng guide, please refer doon sa checklist na provided under doon sa included in the document.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll look into the checklist. So all of the documents that will be part of the first envelope should be consecutively numbered from page 1, meaning even if they will be consisting of several documents like letter of intent to bid form 3. So letter of intent 1, 2, 3, and then it will go on the numbering of the pages. So all documents that are part of the technical bid or the first envelope should be paged consecutively from page 1 up to the end. Is that correct?
The technical envelope, your technical component and also the financial component should be numbered consecutively.
Okay. Okay. So for the next question, medyo nalito lang po kami kasi there's a definition on properly bound, which may be paper bound, cloth bound, or hard bound. And then there's another section that states that the bid should be hard bound. And if it's not, then it may be a ground for disqualification. So how should we bind our documents? Can it only be hard bound?
It should be hard bound, a book bound and hard bound, and not cloth bound or paper bound. The back will be issued would be bulletin, indicating the second sentence of item 13.4 of the instructions to readers to be consistent with item 14.4 thereof.
Okay. Thank you. Sige. For the letter of intent, ano po yung port address that we will indicate? Is it just port of Puerto Princesa City?
Attorney Cesar, to be specific, the port address to be indicated is Port Area, Barangay Pag-asa, Puerto Princesa City.
Okay. And the newspapers where the terms of reference were published, do we have a reference for that?
To clarify, Attorney Cecil, the terms of reference was not published in the newspaper. Only the invitation to be was published in Manila Times. The terms of reference was posted in the PTA website.
Oh yeah. Okay. Because we need to indicate in the letter of intent where the publication was made. So we will just indicate there Manila Times. Correct? Okay. For the omnibus sworn statement, this goes into the details of the forms So we just want to make it clear. Yung sa dun po sa first paragraph, omnibus sworn statement. First paragraph, where is it? Fill up number 9. Name of bidder is authorizing the authority blank or its duly authorized representatives.
You can disregard the blank.
Okay. We'll disregard the blank. Okay. For the telephone number, can we indicate a mobile number?
Yes, Attorney Cecil, any contact number.
Okay. For under number 11, administrative order number blank 2018, do we indicate 12/2018?
Yes, Attorney Cecil.
Okay, thank you. For number 13, what date will we indicate in the site inspection?
You can coordinate with yung actual date na site inspection.
Okay. If so, it has to be done, right? The site inspection.
Yes, mandatory yan kasi not included siya sa office for statement. As one of the statement na dapat.
Okay, so we'll just coordinate with the PMO if for a possible site inspection. But can the site inspection be done virtually, considering the current circumstance?
Pero siguro ba sa coordinate na lang with the other PMO?
Okay. For dun naman po sa surety bond for bid security, how do we attach it? Because I understand a surety bond will be parang siya, di ba, original. It's a document na it's an actionable document actually. Do we attach it to the ano? Do we bind it together with the other documents?
For purposes of including into a technical proposal, we should only photocopy it subject to the presentation of the original to the COSPA if you are the highest bidder.
Okay. For the working capital, how do we, napansin lang po namin dun sa pro forma contract, nakalagay po dun na yung working capital po will be deposited already in a separate account identified by the PMO. Tama po ba yon? At the time of bidding, the required working capital will already be deposited. Instead of depositing, can we instead issue or present a certification of bank deposit that there is an amount equivalent to at least the required working capital under the name of the of the bidder?
We'll just verify for the investor kasi I'm not sure kung ano, iba kasi yung matalo sa'yo. Pero yung working capital is your current assets minus your current liabilities. So usually, ang nakukuha yan yung sa audited financial statements.
Okay. Will you be issuing it in writing, the clarification for the amount of the working capital and how it will be presented?
Yes, sir.
Para po malinaw. Opo. Then, yun pong sa bid form number 7, we noticed po na yung pong part 2 ng bid form 07, the title of bid form 07 is company and key personnel experience. So part 1 nun is it enumerates the principal key personnel. And then there's part 2, there's a portion on completed and ongoing CH or port-related service contracts and permits. This is the same as the bid form 3. So do we repeat it, what we stated in bid form number 3 to this bid form 07?
Yung bid form 3 is a statement of completed, ongoing, and awarded but not yet started for terminal management.
Okay.
Last 5 years.
Okay.
Yung mga, meron na kayong mga contracts not necessarily to terminal management or yung part to contracts, doon yun na ilagay doon sa portion of bid.
Okay. So it is in all other, like, basta port-related service contracts. Okay. And bid form 09, I think this was already addressed, whether we should include or consider the amount of withholding tax. So we don't, right, as clarified earlier. Yung sa checklist of requirements, meron B4, there's one of the items under the checklist is that we have to show that the nominated party has experience of having a completed contract that is similar to the development commitment under the Port Development Plan. Yung completed contract po ng nominated party, does it have to be PPA related?
Kailangan na kasi ito yung for purposes of determining yung nominated party mo may experience. So dapat yung major category support, kasi di ba, as to flexible support, yung sa last portion ng table, which is attached so doon sa cargo promotion, doon makikita yung major category support, kung magiging qualify yun at experience required doon sa infrastructure commitment nyo.
Okay, if we have, okay, but basta relevant experience, it doesn't have to be PPA related. Is that correct? Okay. Yun pong sa paid up capital, can we submit the latest GIS to show the paid up capital?
Yes, but also in addition to your latest audit.
Sorry, ma'am.
You can submit your latest general information statement in addition to your latest audited financial statement.
Audited financial statement. Okay. And then lastly, for the cash deposit, how do we make the cash deposit in favor of the PPA? Do we pay the cash deposit in the PPA cashier?
Yes, as mentioned, as clarified earlier, you should manager's check.
Manager's check. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Favor of PPA, and then tender it to our treasury department, and our treasury department will issue the necessary acknowledgement receipts.
So the actual manager's check will not be attached to the bid. It has to be tendered prior to the submission of the bid. Did we get it correctly?
Copy nyo na lang para tapos i-attach nyo doon sa so we can verify din sa treasury namin. Sinabit mo nga yung manager's check kasi ang hirap din mawala or maano yung doon sa technical documents nyo. Hirap kaming bayaran.
Okay. So ang i-attach lang po namin, sorry medyo ang i-attach lang po namin is the acknowledgement receipt from the Treasury Department, correct? Okay. Hold on, I'll just confirm with my teammates if everything is clear now.
May we ask the representative of Auditor if they have any questions, clarifications?
We are going to hear just a few questions actually. The clarification that in concession fee is what makes the may get the
Subject question to issuance of supplemental reporting.
Yung mga kuha ng who can ask a written credit like is a figure which is already purchased. Because may mga sila na ginamit na kagagahan. So, increase, pushing it. So, if you have a ngayon, you will respond to them. Unless you are also either for adaptive question. Okay, let's return to the first speaker who manifested that they I have questions. Mr. Chairman, you also shared manifestation of the bidder. Regarding adopting some of the questions of PI that were not addressed, we would also like to take on the information about it. Take on per day.
Not yet.
The previous concerns and we responded to them. Initially, dapat ito natin yung previous concerns yung mga tanong. So kung hindi natin nasagot, ikaw din siguro sa atin, your preparedness to respond. Similar din siguro. Okay?
Mr. Chair, just one, if we're going to adopt the same questions proposed by ATI, will that be sufficient for us to be furnished with a copy of their response?
Yes.
Will we be adopting that? We also have to go.
Okay. That ends, okay, Madam Secretary, if you have a update to them regarding the date of submission.
Please be informed that the scheduled submission and opening of bids for the terminal management contract for Port of Puerto Princesa is on December 3, 2020. The deadline for submission of bids is at 1 p.m., while the opening of bids is at 2 p.m.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, can I ask one more question, please? For clarification lang po, dun sa uniform port tariff, is this inclusive or exclusive of VAT? Mr. Chair, can we request Cathy to respond?
Hello. Yes, the uniform port tariff is exclusive of VAT except for the passenger terminal fee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Madam Secretary, I think there is correction regarding the submission and opening. As I mentioned before. So as an answer to please reiterate.
We'd like to reiterate that the scheduled submission and opening of bids for the port terminal management contract for Port of Puerto Princesa is on December 3, 2020. The deadline for submission is at 1 p.m., while the opening is at 2 p.m.
Okay, that ends the pre-bid conference portion of our agenda. The respective legal services. Okay, thank you sa perspective leaders. I hope to see opening of this.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
you already presented initially your terms of reference. So this is basically correct. We are trying to correct the operational area, like the damage of the previous typhoon, not the recent typhoon. However, in light of what happened with regards Puerto Princesa, I would like to make sure na tama ang basis ng computation sa concession fee. Tama naman. Kasi hihingin namin yun sa operator dyan, makukumpare kasi mahirap na. At least ngayon, maaga pa lang, before we post it, makorek na natin. Definitely. Hello. Demo Legaspi. So previously, you already presented your terms of reference. This presentation now is with regards to correction of the operational area, which was brought about by the changes, damage sustained by the ports during the typhoon last year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when developments kasi yung sa Puerto Princesa, na mali yung basis ng populations nila ng concession fee. So I just like to make sure that your computation of concession fee is based on the actual correct data. Kasi we will be instructing the technical working group in all further cases to get the data from the current operator para ma-verify natin. Kasi medyo mahirap naman nalalaman from a perspective leader, but may changes. Okay?
Yes, yes, sir.
So, so na-determine din yung correct area. Tama din area natin.
Ay!
Sir, kami lang sa data dahil sir, for the constitution mental revenue and project receipts. Tapos, about certain task considerations are the breakdown of the services impact, implementation of the mental revenue, and review of concession fee and the statistics for policy. Sir? Ano daw?
Hindi na tayo naintindihan.
Sorry, sir.
May mga items na pinagdari.
Sir, may mga...
sa contract natin. Yes?
Sir, again,
Sir, tama din, sir.
Yung correct area, yung correct operational area na ilalagay natin, na-determine na natin, natanggal na natin yung damage portion, etc.
Kung tinatanong niya, sir, kung sa
Kasi naman sino na po sa
Operational area. Okay. Inulit pa natin ito dito
withdraw because we needed to make sure tama yung area, di ba? Kasi yun yung problema natin, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, nakuha niya na yung correct area, nabigay niya na sa technical working group.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ano na rin kasi sir yung sa class indicated sa class.
Okay. Tapos, I just like to stress na sigurado kayo na tama ang ginagamit yung data in computing the concession fee. Kasi nangyari sa Puerto Princesa, mali ang binigay nilang data. Nalamit pa natin sa operator.
Take natin yung consideration. Sir, ano?
Tama ang data.
I-update na lang po natin, sir.
I-update.
Kasi sir, sir, may mga in-email po kasi sa akin si Ma'am Cathy ng mga for clarifications and considerations. So we went back to the computation po ng concession fee and we have also listened into the mga pinoint out po sa Puerto Princesa and we would like to request na mabigyan muna kami ng time ulit to review our computation.
Okay, since hindi pa finalize, hindi natin ma-approve 12%. Okay.
Yes.
How much time do you need? Sapat na ba yung CPF? So we have a meeting at 2 p.m. Yeah, Maggie, how much time do you need? Kasi, well, the sooner you can present, the sooner you get both.
Okay.
Yeah.